Hi, today I'm going to talk to you about owning dogs and what they can do for you. So my topics are ownership, prison dogs, and how they can reduce your stress levels. So first off, I want to say that I personally have a dog, as most of you may know from my introduction speech. Her name is Shadow. We got her in August when we moved to San Antonio, and she'll be a year old in May, which we're very excited. She is very entertaining and she is extremely energetic, which is got its ups and downs. Personally, I love her, but waking up at 6:30 in the morning to let her out is, kind of a pain in the butt. But you got to do what you got to do. So I'm going to begin with ownership. Before you even purchase a dog, purchase any pet, adopt them, you want to think about it. You want to think about what it all entails. The responsibility, the cost, just everything. Because you don't want to later on be like, oh, well, let me return them. That's not something that, it's something you can return. It's not that simple. When we were adopting Shadow, we went through the process to make sure that she was a good fit. And while we were there, this man was surrendering his pet. He said he had given it away because it was just too much of a hassle. And then the people gave it back to him, and then he is returning it to the shelter, which is a huge shame, because if you're not going to be a responsible parent, then you shouldn't adopt a dog or any type of pet. Because it is a huge commitment, you know, and you don't want more than what you can handle. For instance, you have one pet, that's fine, and you think you can have another one, and then you realize, oh, well, that's way too much. The one pet can be enough, and then more than that is way too much. It's going to be a huge adjustment, because I know that firsthand. Living with just my husband and I, and then having an addition to the family that you're responsible for, because they can't fend for themselves. You want to ensure that they're kept safe. Like recently, in January, our dog was attacked at the dog park by another dog, and the cost of the medical treatment because of it was high. So you want to make sure that they're safe, and you know what can happen and the cost, because owning a pet isn't cheap. You want to make sure that you take them out for exercise, and then you train them so that they don't feel so cooped up and become lonely and miserable, because you don't want that for your pet. So then I'm going to move on to prison dogs. So I work at a prison facility, and when I started there, I noticed that there were dogs there, which I never imagined. I've seen the cats and stuff just to keep, other kinds of animals away. But the dogs are used as a rehabilitation type of form for offenders. They are taught responsibility and just taught to be, compassionate, and it's like they're saving each other, because most of these dogs come from local shelters that are either going to be adopted or put down. So this is a different method, and which helps not only offenders but the dogs. Which, of course, like I said before, this is a huge responsibility, and you want to make sure that the offenders know, what they're getting into. Before they're brought, to an offender, they're given all their shots, all the microchip. The facility makes sure that there's nothing wrong with the pet, and it's just, I think it's a very, very good method, so that offenders learn responsibility, because once they're out, they have to do something different than the crimes that they were committing. Dogs are also great stress relievers. I have a lot of anxiety, and you know, she can be a pain in my butt sometimes, but she definitely helps brighten up my day. She's funny, the things she does is just it just lightens up the house pretty much. Studies show the interaction with therapy dogs can decrease stress levels, which I find that completely true. Um, I've looked up that there's 5 ways that pets can reduce your stress levels. So here are some. It says they relax you, meaning that by you petting your dog, you're releasing endorphins that make you feel good as well, not just your dog. So pet your dog once in a while because that'll help you reduce your stress levels. They can also reduce your blood pressure, which I find interesting because I talk to my dog all the time, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I wish she would talk back to me, but that doesn't happen. Um, Number 3 is that they are very therapeutic, like I said, with them being guide dogs and things like that. But if you have a dog that shows up, when you're very sick at a hospital or something, you know, you tend to go towards them before you go towards a human. Like you don't want to open up towards a human. You just want to pet an animal and be like, oh, you're so cute and adorable. And there she is being cute and adorable. Um, it also improves your human nutrition, which means that you don't think about eating bad because you're in bad company. You're eating with your dog. You're like, oh, this is good food. I don't know. It was just something that was on the facts. It will also improve your relationship. That stimulates responsibility, trust, openness, and companionship. So that's pretty much it for me. I've talked about the ownership, prison dogs, and stress levels. And then I found this very interesting quote. It says, dogs are wise. They crawl into a quiet corner and lick their wounds and do not rejoin the world until they are whole once more. By Agatha Christie. I believe that dogs are are going to always be part of your family, and mine absolutely is. So, thank you.